Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Yesler Street overpass. I'm going to introduce the director of the Seattle Department of Transportation, Scott Kubley, who's going to share a few comments, followed by Councilmember O'Brien, and then we're going to cut the ribbon.
Thank you, Mayor Burgess. So we're here today to reopen the Yesler Street Bridge, and I do this with a little bit of a heavy heart and a little bit of a light heart because transit is going to be moving back off James Street back onto Yesler for the 27 bus. So that's going to make my commute have a few less choices for my bus ride. But the really positive thing is we're opening this back up for everybody else on the 27. But more importantly, we have some local businesses, or a local business that was really impacted pretty heavily by this project. It's a critical project, but they were impacted. And so now we're open back up, and they can get back to their normal way of doing business. And we'll introduce Tony the barber. Tony, who runs 9,000 barbershop back here, has been a real soldier over the last 16 months getting this project done. So with this project, one of the things that we're doing is we're rehabbing a historic bridge. This bridge has been around over 100 years and it really needed replacement. And as we've done that, we've been able to keep the historic character, but also kind of bring it up to modern conditions. So you'll notice the little wires on the railing. That actually is helping us meet ADA while still preserving the historic character of the bridge. We're putting in curb ramps at all the crossing locations. So one of the things that the city has done in the last several months was we signed a settlement agreement with some Disabled Rights Washington and a couple other plaintiffs around getting the city to be more ADA compliant. And so putting in these curb ramps is one of those steps to making this a more accessible city. Some of the other things that we've done, we've changed up and sort of simplified and straightened up some of the one of the intersections at Yesler and Terrace Street. And so this is going to improve driver visibility, improve sight lines so that it's a safer street. Again, we were able to, sort of seismically improve the bridge so that when that inevitable earthquake hits, this bridge is going to be able to withstand it. It was a $19.8 million project. It's one of the first big projects that is done using the Levy to Move Seattle dollars. So this is a Move Seattle project. We're really excited about that. And we also received funding from the Federal Highway Bridge Program as well. So it's a partnership between the local government and the federal government to get this bridge done. And with that, I'd like to introduce Councilmember O'Brien, who chairs the Transportation Committee, to make a few remarks as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Really excited to be here today, seeing a successful completion of a project and an investment in maintaining our infrastructure and bringing this up to what our complete street standards. And so when we redo streets, we make sure that they work for automobiles, for buses, for bikes, and for pedestrians. And when you look around this space, I think it's going to work really well for everyone. I also want to thank Tony for bearing with us. He was telling me that he started this business just a couple years ago. And imagine if in your first year of operation, someone came along and said, hey, we have a major project that's going to take the street down for 16 months. Not an easy thing to get through. And I'll thank the folks at the city's Office of Economic Development for working with Tony, but really with Tony for sticking it out and working hard. And we're excited to have Tony join us in cutting that ribbon today as we reopen this and hopefully see his business prosper as we go forward. Also want to say thanks to all the folks at Hard Hats Invest behind us who did the work to make this infrastructure safe and do so much amazing work around the city. You guys, we don't see you out here a lot, but thanks for standing with us today. Your work means a lot for us. A little bit of history. This bridge, as was mentioned, is over 100 years old. It's named after Henry Yesler, the 7th mayor of Seattle. This was originally part of where the logging was pulled down to Yesler's Mill on the waterfront, and the name Skid Row came from this street. And it's used all around the country for a whole host of things, but this is the beginning of it. And with that, Scott, we're going to cut this thing?
Yeah, we're just going to cut the ribbon.
Mayor Burgess, big scissors?
Yeah, here are the big scissors. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Yay.
Yeah.